Definitely deserve a lot of credit. Alright. Let's do this. Game 2 coming up. We got Dambe taking on Suffo. Perhaps surprising a lot of people, though. Suffo defeated Dambe on Metalopolis in Game 1. And it's up 1-0 as a result. Again, it is a best out of 5 series, so no matter what, we will at least be having 2 more games. From the very beginning, though, I was saying I would not be surprised if we go 0-5, and I still stand strong by that. I really would not be surprised if we go 0-5. Dambe just too good of a player to get swept at the very least. But of course, he got to choose this map, this being Blistering Sands. And Trump, you had some insight on why perhaps Dambe chose this?
Sure, Dambe seems to favor a very aggressive style, usually with Hellions. So the reason why someone who enjoyed being aggressive would choose Blistering Sands is because there are 2 major pathways into the opponent's space. One being the destructible rocks, and then the other being the wide open expansion. So if you can't break through the expansion, you just go after the destructible rocks and just roll into the Zerg base. And if the expansion is wide open, you go kill that. So Blistering Sands tends to be a map which favors aggression.
Yeah, and Dambe, that first game we definitely didn't see the crazy aggression that we actually saw from him last tournament in terms of just getting the Hellions out and loving to harass with Hellions, it seemed like. But I would not be surprised, again, you're just saying it's such an advantage on a map like this. Would not be surprised to see either Hellions or Reapers. Knowing Dambe, he does prefer the Hellion-style rush, similar to what you do as well. And now getting the barracks up there, so he's going for the very standard block, of course, like he did last game. As far as Suffo is concerned, already with the extractor out, and now he's sitting at 14 drones. So no spawning pool just yet, but expect that to go up very, very shortly. Or he could bust a whole crazy hatchery first, like we did see in the semifinals. Nope, there goes the spawning pool. And so he's on to his very standard build as well. So yeah, definitely expect either Hellions or Reapers. Again, I'm more so expecting Hellions, though, from Dambe here.
Gotta agree with you there. Dambe seems like a Hellion man to me.
Again, being a fan of yourself, is Dambe, he's admitted that come last tournament. And that is a style of build that you prefer too. I mean, why do you prefer Hellions over Reapers? Is it just kind of a gameplay thing, like something you're just more comfortable with, or?
Well, the Reapers are about to be nerfed in patch 1.1, so I didn't want to do a strategy which may be weakened in the future. I'd rather do one that is good throughout.
No, yeah, that's fair. That's planning for the future. I mean, why not? It's definitely a very valid argument. As, Dambe not... Is that cut off now? Okay, yeah, so the tech lab will eventually cut it off. I thought the supply depot was just misplaced, but no, the tech lab will get the job done.
It's actually funny. This is exactly what I do. Dambe making me bring a tear to my eye there. And actually, Dambe is going Reaper since he is... he's not. He's actually just building the tech lab awfully early.
Yeah, interesting. Usually, like I said, if at the factory you get that up, where is he going to use this tech lab maybe for the factory?
Maybe. Actually, that's a pretty interesting way to do it. He gets a tech lab, builds a Marauder, and then switches it with the factory. Or he might not switch it at all. But, cool idea.
Yeah, interested to see what he goes for eventually. Hatchery already going down for Suffo, so is taking care of that very early expansion. This definitely has potential to do that on a map like this, of course. Not the shortest distance necessarily. A little bit of ways to make it all the way across. And like you said, there's also that second entrance they could possibly look to go through. Good spread by Suffo and his overlords, by the way. You commented on that on last game as well, how he actually spotted the expansion with one of them as a result, and was able to cause some nice harassment on the Dambe, so he definitely does an awesome job of doing so.
Yep, absolutely agree with that. And one of Suffo's biggest strengths, besides his late-game macro, well, actually, this is part of late-game macro, is just his ability to spread creep across the map. As I said that last game, he spread his creep so far, further than I've ever seen Zerg spread a creep against Terran in one direction. So I would expect this map to be full of creep, provided it goes in the late game. And, interesting play by Dambe here. He's actually building Command Center awfully early and going double factory, so we're going to see very, very heavy mech play.
Well, Dambe not living up to expectations right here, what we really both anticipated.
And look at this! This is so brilliant! Dambe is actually lifting off his factory, so that Suffo does not see double factory, and then now he puts his factory.
Oh, is that okay?
On.
Wow.
That was absolutely beautiful, and I know for a fact that Suffo did not see 2 factories, whereas if he did see 2 factories, Suffo probably would have done something much different, but what he sees right now is just an empty tech lab. Might ring some alarm bells, but not as much as if he saw 2 factories. Cool maneuver by Dambe there.
He didn't see the command center being built either, so he has no clue about this early expansion attempt from Dambe. Dambe already with a siege tank out, as you can see. Was supply blocked there for a little bit, but now he's researching siege mode, has another siege tank coming out. And yeah, he's looking to go for that siege build once again. I mean, it didn't work for him unfortunately last time, but obviously feeling a little bit more confident this time around, this map especially. So yeah, not seeing the early aggressive play as we really both expected once again in terms of Reaper or Marauder, or excuse me, Hellions, but he is showing a very, wow, he's getting a 3rd factory out as well as a tech lab, so you just expect him to just keep the tanks pumping, I guess?
Well, I expect him to throw in a couple of floors as well eventually. Playing Where's the Spire right now, Suffo actually placed his Spire in the middle of his 2 bases once again in very sneaky fashion. Good placement of the Spire. Will definitely be missed by a scan.
Yeah, that's that's definitely going to keep it hidden, and so, I mean, Dambe for the time being definitely won't know about air until obviously the season. Well, here he is actually getting a missile turret up, so he's pretty much expecting it, and figuring that blindly that is what Suffo is going to be going, so a correct guess right there, getting the turrets up already, just for preparation, as we're see the Mutalisk in production currently. In fact, it looks like, wow, spamming Mutalisk. He has 7 Mutalisk in production. I believe already 1 is finished, so yeah, he's going to have about 8 Mutalisk army to start things off here, is Suffo, and we'll see, I'm sure right away we'll see him start the harassment potential. Another missile turret going up at the expansion, though, for Dambe, which was just placed down, and yeah, he's getting the turrets up throughout his base, so he is preparing for those Mutalisks, and thankfully he is correct, because otherwise we'd be spending a good amount of resources on these missile turrets for really no reason, but he is correct at the Spire guess, and Mutalisk army getting bigger and bigger, but unfortunately because of all those turrets out, not going to be nearly as effective as Suffo, of course, wanted it to be. But now he's going to go down to the gold expansion, and he's going to try to break it up with the Zerglings that he has, and going to look to get his 2nd expansion up. But here come the Mutalisk. How much damage will they be able to do?
Yeah, I mean, pretty cool strategy by, well, yeah, pretty cool strategy by Dambe here. Going mass turrets, because that's the only weakness of siege tanks, Mutalisks, and these turrets will be able to repel the Mutalisks. And even if there were no Mutalisks, mass tanks handles most everything else.
Those tanks in a lot of trouble, obviously, and vulnerable to these Mutalisks in the air. Ooh, Dambe lagging there for a second. That would kind of suck, but looks like he's back to go right now. Trying to take out this tech lab on the racks. The racks also spamming out Marines right there. And it should be successful. It is on fire. Will it tick down? An SCV nearby. Oh, it looks like it gets there just in time to start the regen going, and we'll be able to repair it up. But now they head over to the SCVs, just out of range of these missile turrets down here. Well played by Suffo. He picks off a couple of SCVs, picks off another one who's trying to build a missile turret, and definitely gets a lot of damage done in the process. So Suffo, despite all those missile turrets being up right there, definitely a very successful harassment type strategy right there from him, and he takes out quite a bit, slows down Dambe just a little bit, and buying time for Suffo in the process to build up his army, of course, and now get his gold expansion up, which should be going up just right now, as there we go with the drone, and there goes the hatchery.
Yeah, I gotta say, this opening by Suffo is putting him pretty far in the lead. The Mutalisk harass is keeping Dambe in his base, plus Dambe is super immobile with just mass tanks, and has had to spend so many minerals on mass turrets because he has nothing that can hit the air. I was commenting about how turrets and siege tanks were cool, but I didn't say they were good. Please don't say that is my take. I do think it is a cool strategy, though, just going turrets to protect against air, and then mass siege tank. However, there's a major weakness here, which Dambe just scanned. On the bottom right, Suffo is getting his hatchery, and what is Dambe going to be able to do about it? And the answer is nothing.
Yeah, Dambe is going to lose a Marine right there, who spotted the hatchery at the expansion, but not able to do anything like you said. But yeah, Thors, anyone? We do have 3 Thors in production for Dambe. One is just about finished. So yeah, he's going for a very, very heavy mechanical style build. Not many bio in there.
With the 2 armories, he's already researching +1 weapons and +1 armor on these mech units. So huge commitment to mech right here. This is we've seen mech Terran before, and then we've seen mech Terran.
This is definitely a mech Terran right here in Dambe, and showing us something interesting. We see this Mutalisk actually trying to pick out the turret. He will lose 1 Mutalisk, but now he exposes all of these SCVs. However, he's just in range of the side of the turret. Here come the Thors, though, and that's where the Mutalisk will back off. So you got a little bit of harassment there. Like I said, taking out one of the turrets, maybe 1 or 2 SCVs, but eventually falls back. But Suffo, you know, that's what those Mutalisks are so great for. You see from a lot of Zerg players in these tournament matches, they just use it for harassment purposes like that. Really, really successful. He does have a much bigger Mutalisk army incoming, though. Looks like about 16 Mutalisks or so, 15 or so. Scan going out and actually missing completely, so Dambe was not able to see the army of Suffo. Nonetheless, he is sending out his army right now. Again, a very heavy mech army. When you're looking at the food count as well, he is losing 136 to 118. He's going to set up siege tanks right now here in the middle of the map. He does not have control of either Zelanaga Tower. Of course, those are controlled by Suffo with a couple of Zerglings. And now the Mutalisk army once again coming around down here. Is he going to send it in trying to harass more? I mean, it's the question now. But Dambe looking to play aggressive, but not overextending just yet.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Dambe is actually now adding in Hellions in the build, which is an excellent idea considering Suffo is just mass Zergling. So, I gotta say, in a direct conflict, Dambe would probably completely wipe the floor of Suffo's army. Suffo needs to remain immobile, needs to keep doing the excellent Mutalisk harass he is, and he needs to just constantly saturate these other bases. And Dambe crying about these tanks, they are absolutely immobile. But here he goes, and oh my gosh, he's rolling them into the creep! Oh, that was a little dangerous.
No, Suffo's not going to react to it just yet, though. He's going to send them in right now. The Banglings into the way. Now they go the swarm onto all the tanks right there. The Mutalisk also coming in, trying to focus fire down these Thors. They got a good chunk of the mech down right there with all those Zerglings and a couple of Banglings thrown in there. Taking out 1 Thor right there. 2 more Thors alive. They're down below half-life, and he will be successful at taking both of them out. So Suffo coming out on top of that fight. Not necessarily big time, but he will win the fight in the end. And a couple of Mutalisks going to be able to pick off these siege tanks and Marauders, of course. You see him sending in some Zerglings as they're getting picked off. But the box of Mutalisks, and there goes the Zergling swarming the Hellion that came in at the last second as well. We also have Broodlords spawning right here for Suffo. So you know, he has 3 Broodlords on top of a Corruptor just for good measure. And Suffo will most likely look to make a counterattack right here.
Dambe have given Suffo too much time, and Suffo's monstrous macro coming into play here in the form of Broodlords. There is nothing Dambe has that can counter the Broodlords right now. He's desperately making another starport for Vikings, but that's just not going to be fast enough in Dambe. Good games out. I wonder if anyone predicted Suffo winning 3-0.
I was looking